So let's just start off with, you want to explain Anytune to the viewers?
Sure. So Anytune is basically a music practice app. As a musician, I learned to play by ear. So I was a drummer down in the basement, big speakers around me, and I would just play along to my favorite songs. So Anytune is just a music player that allows you to do things that I always wished I wanted to do. So you can slow down the audio. If you want to, listen to a tricky part or play along with a tricky part, slow it down, still keeping the pitch. If you're playing guitar, you could change the pitch to match the key of a song or your guitar without up and changing those things. And then we just added all kinds of features that users ask for. So looping, loop training, where the loop gets faster and faster as you go. So it's just a way for musicians to learn, transcribe, practice, and some of our customers actually use it in performances where they play backing tracks and they can remix songs in real time with remote controls and things. So they could play the chorus 4 times instead of 3 and change the song in real time.
Cool. And I was pretty impressed when I checked out Anytune how intricate the platform seems. Seems very much for like the real musicians.
Yeah, so there's a lot there, and over the years we've added a lot more features. So the user experiences, there's a lot of feature-rich content in there that you got to dig in to get to. But the objective is to make it as simple as a music player and as powerful as a DAW. So even a very basic learner can easily use it, but a teacher or a professional can actually get a lot more out of it.
Cool. So can you share a little bit about your role in the company and how it affects the bigger picture at Anytune?
So Anytune was founded in 2010. A friend of mine, after a 20-year stint with an international telecom company, decided to start a mobile app company when the gold rush of mobile apps was coming. We pivoted a couple times and created Anytune, got a little bit of traction as we were trying to work our way through the App Store, and really found it rewarding to help musicians along the way. My partner was kind of the head developer, and I was sort of the anything else guy. So I kind of look at the long-term, oversee sort of product development, strategy, partner with a lot of influencers and musicians along the way, establishing those relationships, marketing. And another big thing about Anytune is we really try to engage with the customers. So I was heading sort of the support and engagement with customers for years. We now have a support team that shares that role, but wear a lot of hats at the company.
Right. So does your day-to-day look like outreaching and talking with different influencers maybe that you've reached out to, marketing and generating all those potential customers kind of thing?
Yeah.
One of the hats?
It's a little bit of everything. Still trying to, we develop and evolve the product every day. And things change very quickly. Lots of new things happening like streaming and, as you mentioned before, AI. So we're constantly evolving that product and seeing how that goes. So I'm involved in the user experience of the product, the web pages, the App Store positioning, and then reaching out to different marketing channels and people to try and get Anytune more aware from everybody out there.
Cool. And I'm seeing those guitars in the back. Are you an electric guy or an acoustic guy more so, would you say?
I'm mostly a drummer. I got my acoustic guitar back in high school and I fiddle around with it, mostly play the drums. My daughters, who actually were kind of inspirational in me starting the company, because when they started practicing, they were learning guitar, cello, violin, and I knew that with your phone, you can do so much more than you could with like a turntable when I was starting. So
nice. So are there any major shifts that you're seeing in the industry, say in the last couple of months or right now as you've been developing Anytune? So
things have changed. I mean, definitely streaming was a big change for us because we actually use audio processing to process that audio to time stretch it or pitch shift it or loop it. We actually have to have access to that, the data, the raw data of that audio to actually do some of those magical things. So when streaming came out, that kind of threw a little wrench into it, but we actually have now the ability to slow down Apple Music streams or Spotify streams in our Android version of the app. And so that's big. The musicians' world has changed drastically because they can create, world-class quality audio in their basement or in their backyard with existing technology. There's just so much music out there, so it's how to get discovered and how to make money in it, because you're not selling albums anymore. You're actually getting out there and talking to customers or listeners, I should say.
Yeah, listeners.
And then AI came around too, which is a
tell me about
huge
it.
change. It's a huge disruptor to almost everything. You got the internet, AI. I think those are equal in the sense of how much disruption there is. So what we've done recently is introduce something called DMix, which uses machine learning, which is a narrow band of AI that listens to a lot of music and tries to separate the instruments. So you can have a song in Anytune, you say I mix it, it comes back as 4 tracks, your vocals, your drums, your guitar, and your bass. And then as a musician, if you're trying to learn a song, you can focus on that instrument, say your guitar, you can listen to the guitar, learn that bit, and then when you want to practice and play along, you can just listen to all the other instruments without the guitar and actually be playing along with that band. So those technologies are amazing. It's like the holy grail for musicians. We've been working on source separation for years with local universities and other opportunities, but it wasn't until machine learning and the recent introduction of this technology that it's really been very, very powerful.
Right. Yeah, so that was going to be my next question is, you mentioned a little bit about, you're starting to use AI as a tool in your business, but you also mentioned that there are others that are far, further along the curve. So I was going to ask what kind of technologies are you using, but I guess DMix is one of them. Are there anything else that you're using?
Well, I mean, I think AI comes into play in many areas. So, for instance, it's my little helper during the day for analyzing logs or doing little tedious tasks or creating content or researching things online. Interacting with support with our customers, we're in 8 different languages. So some of those languages I don't speak very well. So AI and translations help me have conversations with people in other languages easily. Just making the business different, but as we apply it to the actual product, DMix, source separation is one, chord detection, beat detection, smart looping, providing access to resources that are helpful if I'm trying to learn a specific song, figuring out accompanying pieces of like lyrics or videos or other things. It's really going to change things and make it a lot easier for us to be productive helping those musicians grow.
Yeah, I agree. It's a very powerful tool. I'm curious about any exciting potential that you see for Anytune in the future, now knowing that you're able to utilize such a powerful technology.
Yeah, I think the opportunity is to use these technologies but make them accessible and easy to use for our customers, right? So the user experience has always been pivotal because musicians, they don't have time to wade through, although they're usually very capable technical people who are used to using a lot of equipment, they don't want to waste their time trying to learn things. It's just got to be intuitive and get the job done of what they want to do. So, hey, I want to learn a song, I want to hear this loop, I want to hear this instrument, I want to do these things. So we want to use those tools and make them just as intuitive and useful as possible.
Cool. Let's go into some challenges, or maybe some stuff that's been frustrating in your business. What are some major obstacles? Let's start with kind of long term. I know you said the internet and AI were kind of wrenches in the industry. And then let's look into some shorter term, what's been frustrating. So let's start with like the longer term, and then let's jump into like maybe some more shorter term things that have been frustrating in the business or some challenges.
Yeah, in the app space, I guess the frustrations are, it's constantly changing. So you can create an app 1 year, it's working great, but then the ecosystem changes, they update their software, and you're constantly trying to figure out what's new and what's changing. So it's a pretty big maintenance effort just to keep the software running. The switch to streaming has been frustrating because, like I say, we want access into those songs. We've worked around that recently, and we're able to. And our objective is to be able to play any music from any source, whether it's Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, those type of things. So we're trying to wade our way through that, and there's some challenges there. Just keeping your presence known on the App Store with so many apps out there is a challenge, right? It's a very crowded market. There's lots of people doing similar things, and you have to really differentiate yourself with what we do is the quality of the app, the customer support, and the user experience. Introduction of AI is changed the playing field, makes things a lot easier in some ways and a lot more difficult in other ways, but it gives the opportunity to take advantage of some of this technology and apply it to making the customers' lives easier. But it's a constant learning, so which is great because we love to learn, but it's time consuming to keep up to date with all new technology and how things go. So I think basically, the biggest challenges are on the marketing side, staying relevant and being seen, discovered, and having a product that people love, and then just struggles with the technology as things are always changing. We have a lean team, so keeping those guys engaged and keeping the momentum going is a challenge, but we're a team of music lovers, and we find it really rewarding to hear from musicians and say, hey, this is an app that changed my life or made things way, much better for me, and I wish I had it 10 years ago, and those type of things. So that's what keeps us going.
Right. And so you talk about that marketing aspect is very important because you got to keep the momentum going. What are the efforts that you guys are putting in to keep the marketing strategies going or keep pushing? Where are you pushing the app the most? Other than, the influencer relationships, are you putting out advertisements on TikTok, Instagram?
So we're starting down that road now. We've partnered with different. So, for instance, years ago, a musician approached us in the German space, and we partnered with him, and they kind of marketed in Germany and Switzerland and Austria, musician to musician. We have some programs that we use, like Free for Teachers. So if you're a music teacher and you think that Anytune would be valuable for you and your students, you can get a free copy of the iPhone version of Anytune, and that helps get the word out as well. We recently were working with the Guitars for Vets in the States. We've worked with Berklee School of Music. So we try to not spend a lot of money on advertising, but try to reach those people who are interested in music and are of like-minded, trying to help musicians. In the early days, we could kind of reach out to influencers on YouTube, but that has really changed recently. So it's exploded, and all the different platforms. We have partnered with some other marketing growth organizations here, in the world who have that expertise. But because we're a small company, we really like to focus on the product, and we're trying to find partners and other ways to kind of satisfy the marketing needs that we have.
Are there any key metrics that you're focused on improving that are kind of indicators of growth with Anytune?
Yeah, the app world ecosystem has, it's an ecosystem in itself on even the various different sectors of marketing apps, right? So you have App Store optimization, you have your SEO, ASO, you have like the content for social media, you have, influencer, all those things have different, have tools have developed since we started with whole companies and whole, product families of helping optimize these things. And there's no shortage of tools to choose from, and then just trying to find that suite that allows you to track the user from discovery, finding your tool, downloading it, and then finding that it's useful, because once they download it, it has to be useful right away. So they say, yeah, I love this thing. And then move them from finding that it's useful to making them productive and successful. And then maybe they become an advocate, and then they start telling their friends. And that's really, I think, the biggest way that we've been marketing is word of mouth, right? We like to have happy customers, and we'd like to encourage them to tell others that, hey, this is a great tool that helped me. It will probably help you as well.
Right on. Let's jump into some future goals maybe for Anytune. Are there any future, let's say in the next 6 to 12 months from now, where you see the app, if it's drastically changed or even just a little bit, where do you see that going in the next little while?
So Anytune started on the iPhone, before the iPad even existed. So we started on iPhone, the iPad came out, we created a version for Mac, and we've recently created a version for Android. Part of that is that we know that all musicians aren't in the Apple ecosystem. Some are on Android, some of them are only exclusively on Windows. And when we reached out to music teachers, they said, hey, we want to be, all of our students have to have access to that. So we want to be on every platform. We want to be accessible, on Apple, Android, Windows, web, and we want to be able to share the information across those platforms. So for instance, if a teacher has a song and they create some loops and some practice, they would be able to share that with their students across Apple to Android. We also want to be able to access the music in any source that it's at. So you can play your Apple stream or your Spotify stream, and you can share the marks or the loops that you have on that song with someone else who's using it on an audio file that they've ripped from a CD from 20 years ago. Then using some of the new technologies like machine learning and using those new tools to say, okay, now I can do source separation, I can do all the chord detection, note detection, beat detection, and make that experience of learning and practicing the song a little bit more integrated. Just makes the effort wider because we have more platforms, more sources of music. It just multiplies the complexity, but the objective is to make things simpler for our customers. So that's where we're headed in the next.
Cool. And I know we've talked a little bit about challenges and frustrations so far, but if there was one thing a major challenge that you could solve today in Anytune, what would that be? Maybe a loaded question.
Yeah, a major challenge. I guess the first thing we're doing right now is trying to have feature parity between our Apple and our Android offerings. So right now, Android has some additional features that Apple's doesn't have, and Apple has some other features that Android doesn't have. And we're trying to kind of make the features the same on both, and allow people to share the data that they're using between of those projects they're working on across those different platforms. So getting Anytune ubiquitous on all the platforms and all the music sources is probably the biggest challenge that we'd like to solve.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, iPhones are great and Androids are great, but they have those separations, right? I don't know what the Android separations are. I don't know if you're an Android guy. I'm assuming you're an iPhone guy because you started it on iPhone.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, there's value to both, and I start using Android devices to learn how we're putting Apple on there, and there's advantages to both sides, so I can see that. But try to make that experience, like you don't want to make them have an Apple experience on an Android device and vice versa. You want to take advantages of the goodness of each platform, but provide that same capabilities in an interesting way, or the applicable way on each platform.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. Well, thanks, Tony. I appreciate the insights. That was awesome.
Well, I wish you all the best on the podcast and future.